Greetings and welcome to another edition of The Great Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Well, here it is, another Wednesday, and this week we have for you why I believe what I do about Goddess. Very important. Why do I believe what I do about Goddess? I seem to have a different viewpoint than most goddess worshippers. Most goddess worshippers worship multiple goddesses as one goddess, and they worship idols, and they do other things. Why do I believe what I do about Goddess? Why do I believe we should worship one goddess and in three forms? And why do I believe that we should only worship her facing a wall, that we should not worship idols in front of idols? Where do I get these beliefs from? Well, it is a difficult thing to explain, but I'll try to explain it. The reason that I believe these things is probably because of my upbringing. I will admit that my upbringing has had an influence in this, and I was raised in a Christian household, and I was taught certain things that you should and shouldn't do, like you shouldn't worship idols, and you should worship one deity. That's what I was taught. But why would I carry that onward? Why would I hold on to those beliefs in my worshiping of Goddess? Well, it's because I believe that the Goddess is real. I believe the Goddess is real. She's not just a story that was told a long time ago by some religious authority that made up a story about her. I believe the Goddess is real. She's a real living being. And because I believe that she's real, I reject all these stories that were told about her in the past. So I reject there being multiple goddesses because I reject the stories that were told about them. There's stories like the story of how the goddess was raped by the god, and how Zeus had all sorts of affairs and cheated on his wife. It's stories like that make me reject the multiple goddesses, because these multiple goddesses were created by pagan nations that were basing their beliefs on myths and stories that were told about their god and their goddesses by many different sources, and it's just all these stories. While the pagan community may say that they hold value, I think that these stories demean the true goddess. They demean Goddess. They bring her down, and they aren't representative of what she is or who she is. So I don't believe these stories. I don't believe these stories at all. I believe in one goddess. So I don't believe these stories that are told about goddesses in the past. And I don't believe in these multiple goddesses being one goddess. I don't believe any of that. And neither did the pagans that invented these goddesses. They sure didn't believe that these goddesses were all one goddess. Nobody told them that. Nobody said that to them. They believed in multiple goddesses. That's all they believed in. They didn't believe in multiple as one. They didn't believe that. They believed that there were many goddesses and that they were all different and they had stories about them. So I reject the prevailing view of modern witches and pagans that the goddess is in multiple forms and that there's multiple goddesses. I reject that on the basis of that I don't agree with these stories that are told about them, and I don't think they apply to the real goddess at all. That she has nothing to do with these stories. These stories have nothing to do with her. So, goddess is pure, and she is beyond these made up fairy tales and stories and that are applied to multiple goddesses. Do I believe in multiple goddesses? No, I don't believe in multiple goddesses. I believe that there's angels that are very high in rank that are a part of goddess. Angels that are a part of goddess have ranks, and there's levels of power that these angels have. And angel is the best word for them because I don't have another word that describes what these spirits are. These spirits are angels, and they have different powers, just like we have our own powers. We have powers. Well, these angels have their own powers, and there's many tiers, many ranks of angels that have different powers in different places in the universe. But that is my belief. But I don't believe that they're gods and goddesses, because to believe that they're gods and goddesses, you'd have to say that they were the ultimate, that they were the thing, that they were the most powerful at what they do or who they are, and that they're the ultimate, and they're not the ultimate. They're part of the great goddess. They're part of her. So we can't say that these angels are are gods and goddesses, because they're not the ultimate. They're not the ultimate goddess. And why do I believe we shouldn't worship idols? Well, because idol worship is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous, people. Let's just face it. Idol worship is ridiculous. When you face a toy that you made with your own hands, or that somebody else made for you, and you face this toy and you worship in front of it just as if it were the real goddess, that's ridiculous. You should pray to goddess in your mind, and you should pray to her in the out in the universe where she really is. She's out there, out in the sky. Face the sky, because she's out there in the universe. She's everywhere, and but that doesn't mean that she's manifest in a toy. The toy is not goddess. The toy is one of goddess's creations, and so it's not worthy of worship. It's just a toy. And so don't worship a toy. Worship goddess, and don't worship toys, which are idols. Don't worship in front of an idol. Worship the real goddess. That's my belief. And that would also apply to images, like a picture of goddess that looks like goddess, not just statuettes, but also images of goddess, like a picture on your TV screen or your computer screen. Don't worship idol that's an image of goddess. Worship the real goddess. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't a place for religious artwork or religious images, because there is. But that's not the same thing. Religious artwork is meant to be admired and then you move on. It's not the same thing as the goddess herself. So the goddess herself is very great, and we should worship her away from idols and away from distractions that have nothing to do with her. And also, so my upbringing reflects this. Now, where does my upbringing fit into all of this? Well, my upbringing fits into this with the fact that these religions exist because they want to show people the way. Okay, Goddess wanted to show people the way to worship her and the way that she wanted to be worshiped. And these religions that were established show the way. They describe how Goddess would want to be worshiped. And so I go with the things that um, apply to Goddess and that matter to Goddess and that have to do with Goddess, and reject all the things that don't have to do with Goddess, like Son of God and Jesus Christ and all of those things that don't apply to Goddess. I reject, but I do accept that Goddess deserves to be worshipped in the way that is dignified and that honors her to the highest degree. Now, I'm not saying that people who worship idols or that people who worship multiple goddesses don't honor Goddess, but I'm saying that their practices are not honoring Goddess to the highest degree. To the highest degree of honor for Goddess and belief in her and Goddess worship is to means to let go of all of these practices, idol worship and worshiping multiple goddesses as one, because she deserves to be worshiped in a way that is dignified and that honors her to the highest degree. And that's what I believe honors her to the highest degree is Goddess worship, of worshiping her as if she were a real living being, as if she were one, and as if we honor her in all of her forms and in her aspects as maiden, mother, and crone, that we honor those aspects of Goddess while at the same time remembering that she is one, that she isn't many, she isn't a multitude of goddesses, that she's one goddess. And so that's honoring her to the highest degree, is to believe that she is one and to worship her as one and to worship away from idols and away from distractions. That is why I believe what I believe. And as far as what I believe about witchcraft, I'll save that for another day. I'll save that for next time. But I wanted to show you this. This is my I voted sticker. It means that I voted. And I encourage all of you to go out there and vote. Remember to vote, people. Now it's too late this time, but I voted. So I wanted to show off this sticker so that I can encourage other people to vote, because voting is so important. I'm Sarah Jane Alpha Wolf, signing off. Have a great week.